The golden sun was setting as I stood on the platform, the sky adorned with hues of orange and red. Grand Central was buzzing with life as people scurried around me, each wrapped up in their own world. I clutched the ornate invitation to my own wedding rehearsal dinner tighter, the edges biting into my palm. I was Serena Vanderbilt, the belle of New York society, betrothed to the city's most eligible bachelor. Tomorrow, I would step into a new chapter of my life, one filled with wealth and grandeur. But why did it feel so hollow? The call of a train conductor snapped me back to reality. The train to Hudson Valley was about to depart. That was my train. As I moved towards it, my mind went back to the countless parties and galas, each a blurry whirlwind of chandeliers and champagne, of murmured promises and expectations. I thought of Charles, my soon-to-be husband, with his polished charm and practiced smiles. I had everything I ever thought I wanted. Yet, there was a sense of unease, like a dissonant note in a symphony, growing louder. Just then, a gust of wind blew my invitation out of my grasp, leading me away from my train and towards another one waiting at the adjacent platform. The final call for boarding to the small town of Ravenswood echoed through the station. Without thinking, I chased after the fluttering paper, stepping onto the train just as the doors slid shut. I sighed in relief, holding my retrieved invitation, then glanced around. Something was off. "Excuse me, ma'am," a voice broke into my thoughts. I turned to find a friendly conductor. "This train is headed to Ravenswood. I hope that's where you're planning to go?" My heart sank. I shook my head, stammering, I thought this was the Hudson Valley train." His face fell slightly. "I'm afraid the Hudson Valley train just left from that platform over there," he said, pointing back to where I'd been standing minutes ago. "This train won't be stopping until we reach Ravenswood." A wave of panic washed over me. I tried to get off, but it was too late. The train was already moving, gaining speed. I slumped back in my seat, the glittering invitation glaring back at me. My phone buzzed incessantly, probably my mother or the wedding planner wondering about my whereabouts. But all I could do was watch as the city lights receded, replaced by the fading twilight. I looked at my reflection in the window. The same old Serena stared back, but something had changed. For the first time in a long while, I felt a strange thrill, a mix of fear and freedom. An unintended detour from my carefully planned life, heading towards an unknown destination. A whisper of a thought echoed in my mind, was this an accident or a chance for an escape I didn't know I yearned for? As the landscape rolled past me, the unfamiliarity of the situation sank in. I was miles away from my comfort zone, miles away from my imminent wedding, and right at the heart of an adventure. As the bright city lights faded into the distance, replaced by the sprawling country darkness, I could only wonder what awaited me in Ravenswood. I closed my eyes, my heartbeat echoing the rhythm of the train tracks. Little did I know then, my journey was only just beginning. Ravenswood greeted me with the pre-dawn silence. A charming little town tucked away between dense forests and undulating hills. The station was a small, cozy place with weathered wooden benches and a few people scattered about, waiting for the first light. I stepped off the train, my high heels echoing in the quiet, their sound jarring against the serene tranquility of the countryside. "A tad overdressed for Ravenswood, aren't you?" The voice belonged to a stooped old man, the station master, I assumed, grinning at me from under a well-worn hat. His voice was a gravelly whisper, but his eyes twinkled with amusement. "I suppose I am," I admitted, trying to offer a weak smile. He chuckled, shook his head, and returned to his newspaper. As I wandered around, the town started stirring awake. The scent of freshly baked bread wafted through the air, and I followed it to a small cafe. The woman behind the counter, a stout lady with rosy cheeks and a warm smile, looked surprised at my city attire. "Lost, dear?" she asked, serving me a hot cup of coffee and a generous slice of apple pie. "In a way," I replied, letting the comforting warmth of the coffee seep into my chilly hands. I spent the day exploring the town, my high heels replaced by a pair of worn-out boots borrowed from the cafe lady, whose name I learned was Mary Ann. The town was quaint and charming, a stark contrast from the opulence of my life. The people were warm and welcoming, their smiles genuine, their lives simple yet content. A sense of community pervaded the air, a feeling of belonging I hadn't realized I had been missing. With each passing hour, the panic of missing my wedding faded, replaced by a strange calm. My phone, with its litany of missed calls and messages, lay forgotten in my bag. Here, amidst the rolling hills and rustic charm of Ravenswood, the glittering world of my grand wedding felt like a distant reality. By the time dusk fell, I found myself at a small school on the outskirts of the town. It was a humble establishment, laughter echoing from its walls, colorful drawings adorning its entrance. There was a warmth to it that was almost palpable, stirring something deep within me. As I stood there, lost in my thoughts, the school doors burst open. A group of children tumbled out, their laughter filling the air. Among them was a man, presumably their teacher, his face lighting up with joy as he waved them off. And that's when it hit me. I was miles away from my comfort zone, in a strange town with people I barely knew, on the eve of my own wedding. Yet, for the first time in a long while, I felt an inkling of what I had been missing, a connection, a sense of community, and maybe, just maybe, a chance to be a part of something real. I closed my eyes, breathing in the scent of the cool evening air. I was in Ravenswood, a detour I never planned, but perhaps, one that was long overdue. And as the sun set, painting the sky in hues of red and orange, I couldn't help but wonder if this was the start of an adventure I hadn't seen coming. The man who had emerged from the school was casually dressed in worn jeans and a well-loved sweater, a stark contrast to the immaculately dressed men I was used to. His hair was tousled, his glasses slightly askew, but his eyes were bright with a kindness and warmth that radiated even from a distance. I found myself walking towards him. "Hello!" He turned towards me, flashing an easy smile. "You're new around here, aren't you?" "I am," I said, extending my hand. "I'm Serena." "Lucas," he replied, shaking my hand. "Nice to meet you, Serena. What brings you to Ravenswood?" I hesitated. How was I to tell this stranger that I had unintentionally abandoned my own wedding? "Just taking a detour," I said, giving him a noncommittal smile. Over the following days, Lucas became my unofficial guide to Ravenswood. He introduced me to his world with the same passion he seemed to teach his students. We visited small farms, local businesses, attended a town meeting, even spent a day helping out at the local shelter. The people of Ravenswood welcomed me into their lives with open arms and genuine smiles, their warmth slowly dissolving my walls. Lucas was unlike any man I had met before. His charisma was not in smooth words or polished manners, but in his sincere passion for his town, his unyielding spirit, and his ability to find joy in simplicity. He spoke with an earnest intensity about his dreams for the school and the children, and I found myself drawn to his vision. In the evenings, we'd sit by the school, watching the sunset, lost in our conversations. He spoke about his love for teaching, his plans to improve the school, his dreams of providing the children with the best opportunities. His words were colored with a deep love for his community, a dedication to make a difference, and I found myself captivated by his unwavering optimism. Slowly, I began to see my own life through a different lens. My luxurious lifestyle, the shallow parties, the societal pressure, they all began to lose their luster. The superficiality of my world became glaringly evident in the face of the genuine contentment that surrounded me in Ravenswood. One evening, as we watched the sun dip below the horizon, Lucas turned to me, his eyes serious. "You know, Serena," he began, "you can run away from a place, a situation, even people. But you can't run away from yourself. If this detour is to mean anything, let it be the path that leads you back to who you truly are." His words resonated deeply within me, a mirror reflecting back a truth I had been avoiding. I was Serena Vanderbilt, engaged to be married in a grand ceremony to a man I hardly knew, a woman on a path dictated by everyone but herself. Yet, here in Ravenswood, amidst the rolling hills and under the vast, starry sky, I felt a freedom I had not known. I felt seen, not as Serena Vanderbilt the socialite, but as Serena, just Serena. And in that moment, sitting beside Lucas under the soft glow of the setting sun, I began to understand that this detour was more than a missed train ride. It was a journey towards finding myself, a journey that was only just beginning. Despite the tension that hung in the air, Ravenswood continued to unfold its charm. Every day brought with it a new discovery, a fresh perspective that somehow managed to bring me closer to a version of myself that felt truer than ever. I spent my days immersed in the community, helping Marianne at her bakery, volunteering at the school, participating in local events. I felt a sense of fulfillment that my previous life had never afforded. Each small act, each genuine smile felt like a reward, a heartwarming validation that I was making a difference. The children at the school, with their endless energy and bright-eyed curiosity, touched a part of my heart I hadn't known existed. Their enthusiasm, their raw honesty, their resilience amidst hardships left me humbled and inspired. I found joy in their laughter, hope in their dreams, and purpose in their growth. One day, I found myself sitting in an old wooden chair, surrounded by a group of eager children as I read them a story. Their eyes sparkled with imagination as they hung onto every word, their innocent laughter echoing in the room. And in that moment, I realized that I was not just reading them a story. I was a part of their story, shaping their experiences, and in turn, they were shaping mine. Lucas remained a steadfast part of my journey. His unwavering belief in his mission, his dedication to the community, his passion for making a difference, it all spoke to a part of me that was yearning for more. More authenticity, more connection, more purpose. Through him, I discovered a sense of fulfillment that no amount of wealth or social standing could offer. We spent countless evenings discussing our dreams and fears, sharing our hopes and aspirations, under the endless country sky. His dreams for the school, his commitment to the children, his love for the town, it all resonated with me in ways I couldn't explain. It was as though Lucas had unlocked a part of me that had long been dormant, a part that sought meaning and fulfillment beyond societal norms. With every sunset, with every shared smile, with every heartfelt conversation, I felt a transformation within me. The city's socialite was slowly fading away, making room for a woman who sought purpose and genuine connections, a woman who was not afraid to break societal chains, a woman who dared to live on her own terms. My old life seemed like a distant memory, a dream that I had woken up from. The city's glittering skyline, the whirlwind of parties, the superficial conversations, they all felt irrelevant, hollow in the face of the life I was beginning to build here. The choice that had once seemed daunting was becoming clearer with each passing day. The pull of my old life was losing its hold over me, replaced by the call of the life I was creating here, in Ravenswood. It was more than a choice between two places. It was a choice between two versions of myself, the woman I was expected to be and the woman I was discovering within me. As I looked out at the setting sun, the golden hues painting a picture of tranquility, I realized that I had not just discovered a new life. I had discovered a new me. A me that was stronger, happier, and more fulfilled. And I knew, no matter how hard it might be, I needed to hold on to her.